Alright mate, it's Eden von England here and you're listening to Wrestling Cheers.
Taking your way in the world today takes everything you got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to go where you can see that troubles are all the same. You want to go where everybody knows your name.
And welcome back to Wrestling Cheers, where everybody knows your name, especially when you're non-binary. This is Wrestling Cheers. We like to talk about things going on in Northeast Ohio independent wrestling scene. We preview shows, we review shows, and sometimes we even have interviews along the way. This is an interview with Eden von England. I'm your host, Justin Summers, and Wrestling Cheers is brought to you by the Training Topics Network and Midwest Territory. Please rate and review and subscribe your ever listen to this fine podcast, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon Music, and Podbean, WrestlingCheers.podbean.com. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, Facebook.com/WrestlingCheers, Twitter.com/WrestlingCheers, and Instagram.com/WrestlingCheers. Email, if you so choose or desire, WrestlingCheers@gmail.com, and we have the merch store over at whatamaneuver.net. Like I said, this is an interview with Eden von England, and we have them on the line right now, and the first official non-binary guest at the time of the recording here on Wrestling Cheers. Eden, how's it going?
Hey, hi. I'm good. Thank you for having me on. Honor to be the first non-binary guest on a show, and good evening and hello and all the other British phrases that I can't remember off the top of my head.
So this was your first 4th of July weekend in the United States. How did that go?
It was fun. Sid and I did like 2 different shows, one on Friday night at FGW, one on Saturday at Poser, down in Dayton, and so we got to do the whole screaming at Americans, waving the flag around for a while, and then also just hang out with some friends down there, and then we stopped off at to watch the War show on the way back up to Cleveland, and actually experienced the fair they had there and some of the fireworks, especially partly while we were there and partly on our drive back as well. So it's been fun. I have an England T-shirt I wear sometimes. I was actually a bit too scared to like wear that when I first went to the fair, because I was like, there are too many, there's too much America going on. I was like, I didn't want to start a fight. But no, food's good. The weather is really warm, which is nice part of the day. Then it got too hot. But yeah, I had a good weekend. It was really fun. How was yours?
It was all right. It was all right. We did like a little cookout type thing yesterday, and then Saturday, me and some friends got together. We lit off fireworks at my friend's mom's house. And it was, it's like the last 4th of July we're ever going to have there, because she sold the house recently and he's lived there his whole life. Oh. And for years we used to light off fireworks there. So it's kind of like, all right, one more time for old time's sake, and all came over for that. But, I do have friends that do like to call 4th of July, Treason Day. That's a big one.
Yeah.
I think my favorite was, it had worked great for 1 year. Brexit 1776.
I love that.
That one was, like I said, it was perfect for that year because it was literally like right after Brexit. And it was kind of like
still crying.
Yeah, but I couldn't imagine, like, even for me, like being in England or the UK, like during that holiday. Like, obviously you guys don't celebrate it, but it's kind of like I was taught American history, and obviously, like, it's like, all right, we were the good guys, they were the bad guys, but thinking like the other side, like, how was that taught to you in school?
Honestly, it wasn't.
Really? Okay.
But,
well,
yeah.
You guys got a big history too, so that makes sense.
Yeah. So we just focus on British history, really. I mean, there's so little discussed about, especially if you don't take it for like if you basically drop it as soon as you you can in high school, you sort of cover the Victorians existed. We had some kings. There was a World War or two, and that's pretty much it. So things like I feel like Hamilton taught me more about like the British American like interaction, and that there's not that much of it in there like than I ever learned at school. It's really weird because it's obviously it's the founding event of like America. So but yeah, they just basically don't talk about it. I imagine there's courses that if you take it at higher levels that they do go into it, but yeah, it's actually I keep getting confused and thinking July the 5th to today is the important day. Like I've been like happy July 5th to people. I'm like, oh god. So,
well, I know the 4th of July is the only time that we get our dates right, where we actually put the day first instead of the month.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was brought up, born and raised on month, day, year. And then once I've learned like, okay, the rest of the world, a lot of them go day, month, year, like you're going from small to bigger to bigger. Okay. Then why do we call it 4th of July, not July 4th? Yeah.
Like, I think, I don't know, maybe it stemmed from when you were using the dates the other way around at some point. So, yeah, I'm still not used to that either. Getting there though, but like whenever I'm saying my birthday, I always nearly say it the wrong way around, and like people are trying to take my information and getting very confused. So
that's kind of like on Cage Match, where have that like nice wrestling database.
Yeah. They still need to put me on there. Sid is on there now, but I'm not. So just put it out there.
I would say
Cage Match.
give it time. I've seen like people not have one, to have one. Like I think the funny one is, what is it? Bulking Season has one, but not Chuck and Arthur. Like I don't understand how the team. Yeah, I don't understand how the team has one, but not the individual members are part of that team. Like shouldn't they be on there as well?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. There's some like wrestling fairies in the background, like just randomly, maybe not fairies, things that can't, like it's like monkeys and typewriters, but with Cage Match.
But the thing
I'm sure it's not. But.
Yeah. But with Cage Match, they have the dates written the quote proper way.
Yeah.
And there's times that I'm like, I have to be like,
American way.
Depending on the month and the day, like if they're low enough, I have to go, oh, that's not March 5th, that's May the 3rd. It's a different date. Okay.
Like today isn't the 7th of May,
That's very true. It's very true. So I know there's been a lot of things that you've had to get used to here in the States, of just like things that are different. I think one thing we were talking about before we were officially recording, I know you got driving.
Yes.
That's different.
Yes, it's very different. It's fine if the road is, there's other cars around and people around and signs around. But yeah, I think I was saying I still get in the car on the wrong side every time. Sid's always like, other side. And yeah, when I'm going to other people's cars, I'm always trying to get in their driver's seat.
Oh, God.
And yeah, there's been some dangerous moments, but I'm like 99% used to it now. It's just, I've not gotten over the automatic like nature of it. But also I drive an automatic here when I drove, like everyone drives stick in the UK. So I like my automatic car. So I get a mix from. I like this car because I have cruise control and it's great.
I've never driven a manual car, only a semi.
I still sometimes go to like change gears, like when I want to speed up.
Yeah. I call that either trying to hit the ghost clutch or trying to grab the ghost shifter, because I have been back and forth between standard and automatic trucks throughout my life. And whenever like I'm fresh going from manual to automatic, it's like I'm trying to grab something that's not there.
It's like a phantom itch or a phantom limb, but
yeah,
with the stick.
It's me trying to get used to getting on the opening the right door, basically, for you, because I'm like, nope, that's not there. That's not it.
Yeah, like when I very first started, I actually would go to the other side. I would like go to the door and like try and move the stick.
Has there been anything else that you've had to get used to that you were different in England?
Not drinking the tap water here because it tastes horrible. For ages, I would just like automatically want to go and pour myself a drink and then be like, no. You have garbage disposal thingies. They're weird, but I'd say I'm not getting used to them because I don't use it properly, but I'm kind of terrified of it.
I've kind of had one my whole life and I rarely use it.
I still don't understand when you're supposed to use it.
I'm not 100% sure either.
It feels like just people who are like, why, like when you just put it in the garbage, like, I don't know. Other things to get used to, turning on car things are the main thing because I spend so much time in the car.
Yeah.
Like turning on red and stuff. Yeah. Oh, like liquid measurements. Like here you have fluid ounces, and I still don't understand those. and your gas prices are like for a totally different unit of measurement, and I still don't. I don't know. You use pounds, like the wrong kind of pounds, like imperial weight pounds. So.
It's funny to me because I have a little bit like you. I have a switch in my head, so I can, like, when you say pounds, I make a joke about it. I know what you're referring to. So yeah, we're really weird on that. I don't know why we've never converted, and it sounds like a good conversion, but we're just like, nah, we like our inches and our feet and our miles.
To be fair, like the UK uses miles too. And like, it's a very weird middle ground.
Okay.
With metric and imperial measurements. It's like we use imperial for the road, and like sometimes your own weight would be in stone, and your height would be in feet and inches. But then like food measurements and shopping stuff and liquids and foods and stuff will always be in like grams and kilograms and milliliters and liters. So it's a very weird hybrid mix. Probably just because it's so close to Europe, it's like importing and stuff, exporting.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Seems like the logical reason, but who knows?
I thought in England or UK, whatever, that you guys don't call it gas. I thought it was petrol.
Yeah, it's petrol.
Okay.
But like, I have to change everything I'm saying because people don't understand. Like, I know you would understand, but like, so many people don't. Like in shops and things like that's honestly the biggest thing I've had to get used to is like trying to explain what I want or need. So I'm just starting to use American words more and more just because it's like for example, I would say rubbish rather than garbage or trash normally. Petrol, definitely. But I just like, if I don't get it right, I have to get it, or if I can't do words and ask for it like in American, I just sort of end up going and then I'm like, Sid, can you translate please?
Translating English to English.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god, yeah.
It's especially hard when we first got here because people expect you to be able to like communicate really clearly because you're obviously fluent in English, but you're kind of not fluent in American English, if that makes sense.
Like, I heard you in a different podcast, you said gas, and I was like, oh, because I'm like, I was expecting petrol. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's when you talk about it so much with people, you just end up like changing what you're saying because it's easier for them to understand. But it's also like, I've just lost my train of thought completely. I have ADHD, so I don't know what happened there, but my brain has gone off on one.
I was just going to say, it's the closest thing that we get to it, I mean, within our own country is it soda or is it pop?
Fizzy drink.
Yeah, I knew that's the European one, or at least UK, because I've asked people that. Because I'm like, all right, we call it. There's like obviously in the Midwest, or a lot of the Midwest, it's pop. Other places, it's soda, and then you do have like in the South, or certain parts of the South. No matter what you're drinking, it's a Coke. Even if you're drinking Pepsi, it's a Coke.
It's so random.
Yeah, that's the one I don't understand. And I think with soda and pop, I'm like, well, technically, at one point it was soda pop.
Yeah, I was going to say it's just come from soda pop and one half of the way it's gone either way.
Yeah, it was just a bunch of people going like, well, I like soda, well, I like pop. And they both stuck with it. So when I see people go back and forth on it, I'm just like, soda pop. Or I do say fizzy drink. Or soft drink is another one that is like more of a technical term that no one really uses.
Yeah, it feels like the scientific term. It's more just because I think that's what like restaurant menus and stuff often have that on. It's like no one actually uses that.
What about aluminum?
Aluminium.
That pops me every time.
Spelled different.
Because like when I first heard aluminium, and then it was explained to me like, no, it's your aluminum. I'm like, oh, okay, we just pronounce the same word differently and spell it a little different.
Yeah, like the spelling, I think, like when the spelling's different, kind of makes sense. But like then there's stuff like tons and tons, which are the same, but we spell differently. But they are pronounced the same. So people forget. Yeah, people notice that kind of thing with spelling because there's so much online communication. That's the kind of thing that like my lab notice. It's me spelling things completely differently.
I think aluminium actually sounds more like it's metal.
It's like, so do your like periodic, I guess, I don't know how long it's been since you looked at a periodic table. I'm guessing your periodic tables have like,
elements?
Yeah, but like, does that say aluminum on there?
I don't know. Yeah, I haven't, like for that part, I have not looked at a periodic table in a long time.
I'm like,
I don't think I could tell you even like what number aluminum is or aluminium.
Oh, I tried to look it up and then like basically there's just a ton of things that aren't the periodic table. Like they're cool. So there's like a periodic table which is elements discovered by chemists with disabilities, but like it's basically half of the periodic table is missing. So like aluminium isn't on there because aluminium was discovered by an able-bodied scientist. So random.
Perfect fact for Disability Pride Month.
Yeah. I feel like I want to get an actual fact from here. As someone who teaches chemistry to people sometimes. Pierre Janssen, who had a physical disability, discovered helium. There you go.
Did not know that.
Ah. And you know the guy who invented Bunsen burners?
Is his name Bunsen?
Yeah, his surname's Bunsen. He was vision impaired, and he discovered two elements as well. Nice.
That's cool. Learning on Wrestling Cheers.
Learning about chemistry. It's completely different. I'm such a science nerd, so.
I was about to say, that's what happens when we get a scientist on the show.
I feel like I have to impart some science knowledge wherever I go.
How has the food difference been for you?
Because we have quite a few like American snacks over in the UK. It wasn't too big initially, but then it's kind of when you're like, oh, I've been eating this American food for so long, I just want some British food now. And that's kind of when you're like, oh, there's a lot of things you can't actually get. Like, I don't think you've got shreddies. And like right now I'm craving shreddies. Do you know what shreddies are? Do you have them here? What
pops in my mind, and I doubt it's the same thing, it sounds like a cereal we have shredded wheat.
So I think it's Chex Squares. Are they a cereal? Or are they, what are Chex?
Chex is, it's a cereal, but I'm thinking like Chex Mix in my head, which is the Chex cereal, and then you have like pretzels in it, but the cereal itself, I think actually it depends. I think there's like there's a rice version. I forget all the other ones off the top of my head because I don't get Chex that often.
Yeah, I think it's like Chex, or more like Chex. Because we have shredded wheat in the UK, but shreddies is like malted things that look like Chex. So I'll have to try them. I haven't tried them yet. I'll have to try Chex and get back to you.
Okay. I know there's like a lot of like food differences. Like the fact that I told you the first day I met you, just because I love getting people's reaction, is the fact that jelly babies are illegal here.
I know, I was shocked. To me, it's just they're like, everyone eats them, and not everyone, but like, they're so common in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't imagine something that just everyone eats being like illegal.
Yep. I've gotten them many different ways. There was at one point, I don't know how this happened. Like, you could order it through Amazon, but I never found, like, there's never a store that sells it. But I haven't done that in a long time. But then I had a friend who, I told you this before we were recording, who came over with his husband, and they like toured the United States, and like we met and had this conversation. Then he told me one day, he's like, if you ever want jelly babies, I'll send you some. And when, like, late last year, he did just that. I mean, it was when we were having the really bad postal issues to where, it was taking a long time to get like certain things, even just like within the same state or whatever.
Because of COVID. Or...
Yeah. So he sends me this. And also, too, the thing that I've learned, like shipping within different countries or outside of different countries, once that tracking number hits the next country, like there's no updates to it.
Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah, so he kept asking me, he's like, have you got it yet? Have you got it yet? Have you got it yet? I'm like, no, man. And then eventually, like, I forget how long it took. Like, if it took like over a month to get here.
That's a long time.
Yeah, but it was like a box, mostly jelly babies. And then there was these mints. They were like a XXX mints.
Oh yeah, like the strong mints.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Like, my fiance Amanda had one, because I was like, I don't know, like I like mints, but they're
like chalky. They kind of like break kind of easily in your mouth.
I was afraid they were going to be like too strong, so I was like, I don't want it. I've had like the strongest Halls we've had, like or that Halls makes, and like that was god awful. I'm like, I don't want to do it again. I don't want this to be the mint version of it, just because it said XXX. I'm like, I'm scared.
I tried to like lifesaver mints here, which were not good. Like, I like some mints. I like a lot of mints, but yeah, it's hard. Like, there's so many different like exact mint flavors that until you've tried it, you just have no idea if it's going to be the kind of mint you like or not.
And then, of course, our Cadbury chocolate.
I miss real Cadbury so much. I need to go to somewhere that sells it.
I have not. I don't think I've ever had official Cadbury chocolate. That one thing that I've had that I think is Cadbury is the Cadbury hot chocolate.
Okay.
That you can get at World Market, and I do believe it is from UK. It's not like, we don't make a Cadbury chocolate like that.
All right. I think that tastes. I'll have to go and find it and see, like, because the Cadbury chocolate like has a different taste from the Cadbury hot chocolate, which probably has a different taste again from here. So it won't quite satisfy the cravings, but okay. I'll have to try it out.
Yeah, because I'm not sure if you can get that Cadbury chocolate here. Like, have you had a Kit Kat here?
Yes, because they're pretty similar.
They are. That's crazy because if I'm correct, in the United States, Hershey's makes Kit Kats. Everywhere else, it's Nestle.
Nestle.
Yeah. That's why Japan gets all those flavors.
Yeah. Yeah, you have quite a lot of flavors here. I found more flavors here than back in the UK. But maybe it's just because there's a lot of wafers that kind of taste similar. The thing I didn't realize is that your Three Musketeers bars are our Milky Ways, and your Milky Ways are like our Mars bars. Very confusing.
I think I've heard that before, and I totally forgot about it until you said that. And that
there's like a switch around of names going on.
So that kind of makes sense. It's also like, I know for my childhood, one of my favorite things was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But over there, supposedly, or maybe some part, it was called the Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. Because they didn't want to use the word ninja.
I'm pretty sure it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in the UK.
And that's what I'm wondering if it was on like one part of the UK or something. Like, we're talking like it was at least the cartoon, because I don't know about the original movie. So we're talking about like the late 80s cartoon, early 90s cartoon. I think
maybe like part of it was, I don't think it was always called, I think there was Hero Turtles for a bit and then it was changed.
Yeah.
And because it came out before I was born, probably never got that bit.
Probably realized it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, they probably stopped worrying about it too much. I think as well, like they didn't want to show the nunchucks or something because they were like not allowed.
Oh, that could have been a big thing too about that too.
Yeah, I just read that like basically all of Michelangelo's like fight scenes were cut because they didn't want to show nunchucks.
I know another difference is our breakfast. And there's one thing in particular that everybody over here thinks weird, but I'm like, I don't think it's that bad.
Beans.
Yes, baked beans for breakfast. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know, that I've seen enough video of it that it actually kind of makes sense. I don't understand why we shun it.
You have gravy, I guess. It's like your breakfast liquid.
We have gravy. That's funny.
I really like country gravy. I'm a bit obsessed with it, but and I really like your breakfast bowls and hash brown bowls and basically breakfast food that's in a bowl. But yeah, I do miss beans actually. I miss Heinz beans. My mum used to always add cheese to them. Like she still makes this, I'm sure, back in the UK, but obviously I don't get to have any of it at the moment. But she just combines lots of really random food. Like hummus as part of breakfast at our house, beans with cheese in them, and toast. And then other things like she's vegetarian, so it's like lots of vegetarian sausages and stuff like that. Mushrooms.
Beans and cheese kind of intrigue me in a good way. Like, ooh, I want to try that.
Yeah, like so you have jacket potatoes here, right? But do you call them something else? Do you know what a jacket potato is?
No, I do not.
It's just a potato that has its skin. And you cook it, and then you put toppings on it.
I think that sounds like potato skins.
But like a big one.
Okay.
You don't cut them in half. You like cut a little cross on the top, and then you put stuff on top of it. Basically cheese and beans on that or on chips is like a really British thing. So
and for the listening
cheesy beans and cheese.
And for the listening audience, chips is fries.
Yeah. I've not quite gotten used to that. Do you have... Oh, yeah, so, like, you have baked potatoes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. A jacket potato is a baked potato.
Okay.
We just put lots and lots of different things on it.
I mean, we do, too. We do, depending on where you go. Have you experienced, like, five-way chili, a.k.a. Skyline chili?
No.
Because
I need to.
I've never officially had it. But basically, I know five-way chili, it's like you got chili, you got spaghetti in there. Oh, and there's a couple other things too. Like
rogue.
it sounds weird. It's a Cincinnati thing.
Okay.
Like they love it, but there is some Skyline chili up here that you can go to. Like that's the big restaurant that carries it.
I'm intrigued. I'm definitely gonna have. I'm getting so hungry. I'm just thinking about it. Oh yeah, there's one in Cleveland-ish.
Yeah, I think there's one not too far from me, and I don't know if it's technically in Cuyahoga Falls or Stowe.
Oh, there's one in Stowe, and then I think there's another one in Cuyahoga Falls. Is that how you say it? I've never actually heard anyone say it.
Say it one more time. I just want to double check.
Cuyahoga. Cuyahoga.
Yeah.
Nice.
I believe that's a Native American word.
It looks like a Native American word. I've not learnt my Native American pronunciation at all yet.
It's one of those things, depending on where you're from, the tribe that came from that area, like definitely named a lot of things. And if you're from the outside, you'll try to pronounce it and you'll go, I can't. Ohio is very much like that. Like whether it be, Cuyahoga, Ashtabula, all those places. And like hearing anybody from another state try to pronounce it, it's always hilarious.
Ashtabula.
I had a GPS once that I know it really butchered Cincinnati.
Our GPS is still like British voice, so people get in our car and they're like, oh, even your sat nav's British.
Quiet down now. We're going to turn on the Queen's speech. We got to listen to it.
I wish I had one of those ones that you can download a voice and just have the Queen doing it. It'd be great. Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, people actually let me drive them around. At their own risk, I tell you.
I mean, it's better you than Sid.
Yeah, he does not have a license anywhere, so I mean, One day, I'm sure. But for now, he should stay in the passenger seat. He's actually a really good passenger, so I let him off.
Not falling asleep or anything like that?
No, like he's very, like, if he ever falls asleep, he, like, 2 seconds later, he'll be like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm awake. I'll keep you company. It's very sweet. We've been putting on a lot of My Favorite Murder podcast at the moment. So we're now more terrified of the US than ever.
Yeah, that's what it probably should be called.
It was a lot easier listening to like those kind of podcasts, like murder podcasts, when they were all about American murders and we were not in America. But now it's just scary. Keeps us awake though.
One thing that I've done is really just it's crazy how it is. We had a show growing up. I doubt you guys had it over there. It's called Unsolved Mysteries. Does it sound familiar?
No.
Okay. Unsolved Mysteries ran from the early 80s, actually I think to the late 80s to the early 2000s. And they would recreate stories that were unsolved mysteries, whether it be a murder, people becoming missing. Eventually they did get into like ghost stories and hauntings and like hidden treasure type things. Right. Well, you can go on Amazon and rewatch them, and then if there's any type of update that ever happened, it'll show you.
That's cool.
So I had a thing for a while where me and my fiance would watch it, and I would look up more information because if I didn't get an update, it was kind of like, oh my God, what happened? And sometimes I would find reasons of why there's no like official update. Like there's things that happen, but like maybe there was a murder, but no one was convicted. Or maybe they would tell me some things that happened, but they're only in like sometimes a couple sentences. So I want to learn more. And there's but my whole point of all this is hearing where some of these places are and either knowing of them or finding ones in my area.
Yeah.
There was one unsolved mystery. I've briefly talked about it here on the show before. A guy got murdered at a gas station. They never found the murder. There's like no clues, no nothing. He was right by a highway, and they think like he just came off the highway, tried to rob the gas station, murder the guy, and left. And by the time the cops came, he was long gone.
It's wild.
And then there's Marietta, Ohio, which is like around the border of West Virginia. I remember coming across this episode, and it talked about this lady who, if I'm going to probably butcher her story, but she had a past life experience. Like she'd always have these dreams, and she was able to pinpoint that it was in Marietta, which she didn't live too far from it. And there's like all these like background stories of these people in her dreams and the life they lived, and she ended up finding their gravestones and all this kind of stuff. Like I know exactly where that is. So yeah, whenever I heard like Marietta, Ohio, I'm like, oh shit.
It's nearby.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. Like we're starting to be like, oh, we've been there. Oh, we've been there. Oh no. The unsolved ones really annoy me though. I can't deal with the not knowing. I'm like, but what happened?
Well, too, with the ones we're watching, like I said, some of them, like I started from the beginning, so we're talking, like I said, late 80s, early 90s. There had been decades, nothing. And there were some that I saw that like they didn't get like a lead until maybe 10 years ago. And some of them,
people just stop thinking about these cases. Like so many cases just go cold, and then it's really surprising they have like new leads opening up.
Oh yeah, sometimes it's just maybe somebody who committed a murder was really good at hiding, but then eventually something pops up where there's a story, I can't remember it off the top of my head, where I think it was this one guy murdered this woman, and he buried her car in his backyard. Like he had like a really big property.
Yeah, it'd have to be big to bury a whole car.
Yeah, so he was never a suspect.
Yeah.
But when something happened where they had to dig through his property, they found the car, and they were like, oh, like boom, like you're in trouble.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Sadly, I can't remember the exact story behind it, but I remember being years upon years later, and they end up like stumbling across it.
Yeah, like sometimes as well, it's the murderers go to prison for something else, and then they start boasting about what they did. That's one of the ones that gets caught a little bit easier. There was a really interesting episode actually recently where this guy got away with stuff for like years and years and years, and then there was a forensic scientist who basically managed to, from pictures of the guys, because they knew his name, but he'd like created a new identity.
Mm-hmm.
From pictures of him like 20, 30 years ago, and from like pictures of his parents, they managed to like completely reconstruct something that looked identical to him, basically. And they even got the fact that he would now be wearing like a certain type of glasses correct, like based on the fact he'd want to be disguising himself a bit. And they just like got him spot on. It's like this reconstruction like they did that was like 30 years on, like was like exactly the same. I was like really impressive.
It's always crazy when you come across the stories where, you know, the case went cold, but over time, like things have changed, technology has changed.
Yeah.
And luckily they have certain evidence still tucked away, and they're able to like, oh, like now DNA testing's maybe a bigger thing, or like we retested it and found someone who just popped up in the system that
like
didn't pop up back then.
Familial DNA stuff as well now, and they do like like they can get more and more DNA from smaller and smaller samples. So it's cool what they can do. But then also you hear about like we've been hearing a lot of ones where like there's DNA, like there's contamination of the samples. Just like there was a phantom killer in Europe who basically they thought this like woman was going around like killing people in loads of different places and loads of different things. And actually she was just someone that worked at like the cotton swab factory that they'd been using to collect the DNA samples. And like there was no like extra person. It was like they thought that she had loads of accomplices or whatever. But no, she was just contaminating all of the DNA swabs.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a cool story though. That's what keeps us awake on the drives, terrifying ourselves.
Yeah, that'll make you not want to go to sleep. One thing that I know you like, and I think we briefly touched on it once, Doctor Who. I
love Doctor Who. I feel like I'm not up to date. I used to watch a lot in the UK because it would just be on TV. It's just very British. You get to see different parts of the UK, and you have a quirky little doctor going around. And I like Jodie's version as well. It's pretty cool. Good Yorkshire accent there as well. That was fun. I think like some episodes are really well written, like really great storylines, and then some are just like not. Put it that way.
I haven't really got to watch anything from Jodie. Life kind of changed around the time for me when she came out. Like I have her first season on DVD. I just have not sat down and watched it. Cause I got into it. It was right between Matt Smith's last season. Like, cause for those who don't know, sometimes Doctor Who is in two separate parts. And I went back to not necessarily the beginning, but whenever it was revived back with Christopher Eccleston. So I started from there and went all the way up to the, at that time, newest episode, which was whatever the Christmas special was after The Angels Take Manhattan. So I just I forget how long it took me, but got so into it. And then just times have changed to where I just haven't been able to keep up. But for me, Matt Smith is my doctor. It's in between, he's my doctor. I love all the pawns, all three of them, because I'm counting River in there too. The dynamic that they have there, even the big reveal that Melody Pond is River's song, just blew my mind. And the thing that I love about a lot of Matt Smith's seasons is the fact that a lot of those 2-part episodes are really good and are so much fun to go back and rewatch.
Yeah, I agree. That was such a good era. I think I really like the David Tennant ones. I think there's been so many good episodes recently. If you just go back to the right ones, there's some really good stuff in there. I think I did really enjoy the Clara storyline with yeah, that was cool. I feel like Jodie's seasons didn't really have as much of that kind of twists, I guess, that you have in a lot of the previous series. But
I think that's the Stephen Moffat. Like
that kind of writing. Like
a lot of people don't like him, but when I went back and like rewatched a lot of 2-part episodes, even going back to David Tennant, the library episodes.
Yeah.
Like he wrote those, and like also the fact of he was able to like create River then and then find a way to tangle her in all these other episodes with Matt Smith and like tell this story, but doing it in reverse order.
Yeah. Like
so
there's
good.
So much foresight there, like so much good planning and good, like that's so cool when it does that kind of thing of like going back and like the things in the previous episodes that you didn't notice or didn't understand or realize.
The only series I haven't really gone back and rewatched was Christopher Eccleston. Though watching it the first time, I loved him. I wish he would have got more. I understand him leaving. Fine, whatever. It was a little cheesy, but I think that was also Doctor Who trying to, come back in 2005, trying to get their rhythm, get their beat. And then like once you hit David Tennant, I always say the end of his first season, there's a little altercation between the Daleks and the Cybermen. And that's when I became a fan. Like, definitely, I'm like, I'm in it for this. This is awesome.
Yeah,
like
that's when it got into its stride, like, for sure.
The back and forth between them was the Cybermen saying that, like, they would destroy the Daleks. Like, we have, like, thousands, and how many do you have? And they're like, 4. Like, you plan to defeat us with 4? They're like, we can defeat you with 1. And I was just like, burn! Oh my god, this is so good. But,
it's like wrestling, but...
Kind of, yeah.
Trash talking.
It was, but Matt Smith is like where I fell in love. It being that storytelling, being those 2-part episodes are just like really a lot of people complain about. I'd like to get your thoughts on this, where how Amelia, Amy Pond, like she falls in love with the Doctor. She lives her whole life like that, and they're like, well, she doesn't care about Rory, but like if you really watch their arc, like you can tell like. She starts to like not necessarily fall out of love with the Doctor, but she's fallen more in love with Rory, even to the point of like, that's how they end, where she's like, I can't live without him. And there's so many times where like, I love their love story too.
Yeah. Like they share a real kind of situation there, just people's emotions towards people change and over time, and like being infatuated with the Doctor because he's so exotic first or whatever, and then going back to like who she kind of can relate to a bit more and care about in like a different level. It's a cute story. Like it's cute and sad, and at the same time their story. But I agree. Like it's good stuff. For the longest time,
if I just thought about just Raggedy Man Goodbye, I kind of teared up.
Yeah, you'll get me going if I think about it too much. So sad.
Yeah, I haven't gone back to rewatch a lot of those episodes in a while, but I need to. I'd probably even like going back watch David Tennant too. There's a lot of fun stuff. I think like the easiest episode to go back and watch is Blink.
Yeah, like it's really good, but like it's kind of self-contained in a good way.
And it's one of the like rare occasions where it's not technically the Doctor's episode. Like
right, exactly.
Like he's legitimately in it for like a small period of time, so we're telling this other story, and it's definitely so. I've heard before people say like that's the way they'll see if like people are really interested in watching Doctor Who. They're like, well, here's your test episode, we'll watch this. Yeah,
like it's what's like Doctor Who's good in the sense like some episodes are really self-contained, like they're like quite light watching, but they're also like creepy and like easy and hard watching at the same time. Like it's good. Blink's one of the best for that.
What's your favorite episode?
Oh, I like probably the one with like Clara's in the Dalek.
Where she's making the souffle?
Yeah, that one. One of my faves.
That's a good one. For me, I really loved 11th Hour. Like
I'm bad at knowing the episode titles.
That's Matt Smith's first episode.
Yeah.
That's the easy way to remember because 11th hour, he's 11th Doctor.
Yes.
I've gone back and rewatched it I don't know how many times. And it has like so many great bits at the beginning. Like with the whole him trying new food or trying food and then having like new reactions to it. And obviously
was there like the fish fingers and custard in that one?
Yeah, I was about to say like that was the advent of fish fingers and custard. Like was that a big thing over there after that episode? Did a lot of people like it?
I think they're both such common foods here that like kind of people knew whether they were gonna like it or not. But I think Matt Smith is like huge for getting people. Like people really loved like Matt Smith in it, and I think in terms of fish fingers and custard itself, I'm not sure how many people tried that.
I've heard it's not bad, but
it's probably fine. It's probably just like fish fingers and ketchup, but not as good. Because ketchup's kind of sweet.
Oh yeah, because you guys don't have ketchup over there.
No, we do.
I thought, or I was just watching something that maybe it wasn't the UK. Like someone has tomato sauce.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's like it's ketchup, tomato sauce. Sometimes you call it red sauce. Sometimes that's usually probably when it hardly has any tomato in it. Ketchup. Yeah. It's Heinz ketchup. Heinz tomato sauce.
Oh yeah, I feel like that's the big brand over here, cause especially like where we're at. Heinz is based out of Pittsburgh.
Oh, nice.
So that's like huge in this area.
Maybe I can break in and ask them to make me some beans.
I don't know if they still have a beans. Well, I think we have beans. I think there's Heinz beans here, but I think we might go other routes with beans. Like we're big on Bush's baked beans.
I've not tried them yet, I don't think.
Have you tried ranch dressing yet?
Yes, I have. I bought like a huge like bottle of it, and like I much prefer blue cheese to ranch, and like I just had this huge bottle of ranch sauce. I can't decide. I can never decide how to say it, but yeah, like I just had like a tiny bit of it. Like it was okay. And then I couldn't get through the rest. I literally threw away the bottle because I was like, if this is here, I'm just going to feel like I have to finish it. And I don't actually want it.
There's this one girl on TikTok, and like she's from somewhere in the UK. I don't exactly know where, but she does this whole thing of like, she'll compare a lot of things, American and British.
Yeah.
And like, she'll do a lot of food stuff. Cause like, she'll even do like slang. She'll like talk about the differences, maybe even say like, which one she thinks sounds better. And it's not always like she's not biased. She'll be like, no, I think you guys call this whatever, and I like that better. But the food one for her is probably the biggest because like she fell in love with ranch. And I think it's so funny. If I ever come across her TikToks again, I might send you one just because.
Yeah, do.
I think like it's fun to watch. Like you would have a different, obviously, perspective of it because I have it to where I'm American. I'm get to watch someone's first reaction on something, and like you have a similar background to this person, so like you could be like, ooh, maybe I should go look for this because instead of getting stuff sent to you, you can just go to the nearest store and pick something up.
Exactly. Yeah, you should definitely send me some.
I think the funny one is just come from my southern roots. Like she was talking about how good Arizona sweet tea is, and if you talk to someone from the South, they're like, that's not real sweet tea.
I really like Arizona. I think it's just less sugary. It's like honey, right? I think.
I'm not sure what Arizona uses. I know, like, depending on where you go for sweet tea, I mean, there's places in the South that they swear by certain ones. Or I think Milo sweet tea, like you can get that at Walmart. Mm-hmm. And that's like one that they say is good.
I'll have to do a taste test comparison. They had Arizona over in the UK, so I think we kind of just got used to that. And then they have more flavors here. Got kind of addicted to that the first few weeks we were here.
Like going back to Doctor Who real quick, it's one of the reasons why I want to experience Christmas in the UK.
Yeah.
Because I know the Doctor Who special is a big thing. You were telling me earlier that the Queen's speech is also a big thing. But the thing that I don't understand as much, this is going to sound weird to anybody who's not familiar with this term, Christmas crackers.
Oh, are they not? They're not a thing here.
Oh no, we do not do Christmas crackers.
Oh, oh yeah, they. I don't even know how to explain them. They're like paper card, like thin card, in a little bow shape, and you've got two ends, and you pull on them, and then they have like a little a poppy thing in them, and like the same thing you have in those things you. There's so many words that I'm forgetting here, but you know the poppers, like the party.
Yes, yes.
It's like the same thing that makes them make the sound inside like a little cardboard wrap present with two ends, and then inside there's always a hat, a party hat, like a Christmas cracker hat. It's like a circle of crepe paper in a little crown in various colours, and always a joke in there. So the part of the fun is reading out this terrible joke, and there's always like a little tiny little gift, like a knick-knack kind of thing. Like sometimes it's like a mood fish thing. It's one of those pieces of plastic that wiggles around in your hand and is apparently supposed to mean what kind of mood you're in. Or sometimes it's like a little key ring or a little pen or some like nail clippers or a shoehorn. It's just really random. But yeah, and then so you all pull them and get a little hat, read the jokes to each other, and it's a big part of Christmas tradition.
Yeah, we don't have those here.
You're missing out.
After like seeing it on like a couple Christmas Doctor Who episodes, I had to ask people. I'm like, "What are those? I don't get it." And they're like, "Oh, they're Christmas crackers." What's a Christmas cracker? Because anybody listening to when I first said that who's not familiar with it, they probably thought I meant some sort of like a special cracker you bring out during Christmas. But no, like
you have your Christmas crackers and then you have cheese and crackers after your Christmas dinner.
And then, I mean, obviously, because we talked about this too. Like, obviously, like in the UK, Christmas is a little bit different because you guys don't have Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so because we don't have Thanksgiving, Christmas is like pretty much always turkey because we don't like that's our time of year when we have turkey. Some people don't like turkey, so they they depart from tradition. But yeah, and then because we don't really, the rest of the year, we don't really, apart from maybe birthdays, people don't sit down together and eat together and have presents together. So it's just like a bigger deal because I think here, like, you've got Thanksgiving and Christmas are quite close together. So it's like you're going to kind of see your family, at one of them, but you might not necessarily see them at the other one because traveling, whatever. Whereas Christmas is the time that everyone gets together in the UK. And I think there was a big thing with COVID, basically, that they were like, oh, you're going to be able to see your family at Christmas. And then they basically went back on it and stopped everyone or most people from doing that if you're in different regions of the country. Just the Christmas just gone. So yeah, it was a big deal for people.
One thing I want to get into really quick before we do the Fave 5 questions, and it's something that interests me. It was like one of the first times I somewhat heard about you. I mean, granted, I think I first heard about you actually when you sent me a friend request on Facebook, and I went, who the hell is this? But like actually when you were starting to wrestle more, though, was JCW, Juggalo Championship Wrestling, which what was all of that like? And did you actually have any type of exposure to ICP before all this?
I'd heard of and seen ICP. I didn't know about them doing wrestling stuff at all until I was asked to work for them because I only got into wrestling really late, and obviously they're not on like WWE anymore, and so I just didn't know this crossover existed. I didn't really understand the extent of the Juggalos as a cultural phenomenon, and also I knew bits about ECW, but I didn't kind of know that like it was very much that style of promotion as well. So I didn't actually know until like 2 minutes before. I didn't know like all the rules of the match before we went, or the lack of rules about the match until we were basically going out there to fight. So they're really nice though, and the crowd's actually great. I think the Juggalos changed a little bit over the years, but it's a really fun crowd to be around. Difficult, like if you're not doing a death match on that show, it's kind of, you know, difficult acts to follow sometimes. You know, to get out there, and you can't put as much on the line if you're just doing a normal match. But it's fun to be there.
And of course, you had your match with Jocelyn Navarro too. One thing I love about her is I know she's put so many female wrestlers under her wing, or just even like wrestlers in general, of getting them out there more and more. And I think that's awesome. And she's somebody who, you know, she changed schools, and I know she brought a lot of students with her, and seen some of them prosper. Like I know Megan Myers too, who has gotten a little bit bigger following over the past year and a half.
Yeah, it's like Jocelyn, she's great. Like she's really cool. She was one of the first people we spoke to before we even came over here. I got put in touch with her, and she was just really, really nice about kind of giving us advice and things before we moved. She works really hard and helps a lot of people come up, and you know, she doesn't take the shit from anyone kind of thing. But she's a great person to kind of be around in wrestling, and she's had some great opportunities at AIW recently as well. It's been really awesome to see her get to go against Alison Kay recently. So yeah, she's doing good, and yeah, just glad to have her as someone that I know. I'm sure she'll keep going up and up.
I think now we're kind of just waiting for an official debut with the Von Englands. Like we've seen you guys do pre-show.
Yeah.
And then there was obviously the appearance on Go for Broke.
Yep.
Where you technically made your debut in a
yeah.
battle royal, which the fact that you technically didn't even have a match throughout the entire tournament, but you wound up in that match, I thought was pretty funny. So now we're just waiting on that next moment of getting the official show debut.
Yeah, like kind of just keep working. Like, you know, AIW is a big promotion. It has, you know, great talent, you know, high standards, and I'm just happy to keep working, keep going, keep wrestling, and hopefully soon, I don't know when, but hopefully soon I'll get to officially debut, and then we'll both be like, it's been great that I've been able to be involved and around for Sid's matches and be there. You know, it's good to know that they're happy to have me around. But yeah, hopefully sometime soon I'll get to actually go all out in a main show match would be great.
I'll say this: getting to watch Sid do comedy wrestling was hilarious. I became a big fan of him that day. That
in the UK, that was his kind of bread and butter, really. Like he's very, very good technical wrestler, but he's so comfortable with comedy wrestling because he's been doing that for so long. As a duo, we like to lean into that a lot, and that's really fun when we get to do that. So yeah, I'm glad that you got to see it, because I think obviously people who just see him in certain promotions aren't gonna kind of see both sides of Sid. I think he actually at Poser, he actually had a great actual combination of both, because that promotion kind of appreciates both sides of that, and he got to kind of showcase both ends of that. But it's hard because you have to, in wrestling, you know, you have to be a threat. You have to be able to go and fight, and people have to want to see you fight. So it's all about finding that line as well between, you know, entertaining in different ways. I think that balance is something that's hard to find at times, but he's getting there with it. He's showing both ends of his skill set off at the moment, which is great.
Yeah, it's something I hope I get to see more of it in the future, and because I've seen a little bit more of the serious side, but then to just see that comedy side come out, and it probably is a lot to do to the British scene. I was talking to a friend of mine about it from the UK, and he told me, like, yeah, comedy wrestling over here is way bigger than like most people realize. And I'm like, oh, I can kind of see that. Yeah,
I think it's like a lot of the local shows will have a lot of comedy wrestling on. There's some big comedy names as well. I think we didn't get around as much of the UK scene. Because I'd only been wrestling a bit in the UK. So we haven't really gotten around as much of that scene as we'd like. I think, we're hoping that a few times when we go back and visit, we can kind of hit some more areas and show some more people what we can do back in the UK as well. But yeah, I think there's a lot of comedy stuff, because British humor is different, but we do like our comedies, dry humor, but it's very British to be doing that, I think.
Yeah, I'm not really huge on the actual like British comedy. Like, people love Monty Python, never got into it. People love Mr. Bean. I do like Rowan Atkinson.
Yeah.
Like, I used to have a VHS, and I probably have it somewhere hidden. Like, he had a live act that he did, which was more of like, kind of like little skits that he would do live, but they would be hilarious. Like, one of them was like, the devil welcoming people to hell.
Nice.
There was like another one of, it was supposed to be like an award show, and he loses. And actually they do that classic thing of, or at least, yeah, they still do it, where they'll show the nominee on camera. So after he loses, he goes, "Oh shit!" But the person who won couldn't be there, and since he was the co-star in the same movie, he has to go up and do a speech, like thanking everybody. It's absolutely hilarious. If you get a chance,
have you watched? I'll definitely look it up. Have you watched Toast at all?
No, what's that?
Toast of London. Oh, do you know Matt Berry?
I do not.
Okay, go check out Toast of London. It's extremely British. It's about Toast as a kind of a washed up actor who has to do voiceover work to cover his like expenses or whatever. Like that's what he's turned to, and it's very British. It's very funny. At least I think so. I'd be interested to hear what you think. I'm not sure if it's on American Netflix, but I think it is, because I feel like we've watched it again while I've been here. So.
All right, I'll have to look that up. Was it on BBC or ITV?
It was. I've only watched it on Netflix.
Okay.
So I'm not sure where it originally aired. I think it might have aired on 4 initially, but
I was just trying to drop that I knew some channels. It took me a second to remember ITV. I'm like, what's that other one? I know obviously BBC's the big one.
Yeah, it's BBC 1, BBC 2, ITV 3, Channel 4, and just 5.
All right. Let's start to wrap this show up and get into the Fave 5 questions.
This is the Fave 5 questions. Now, can you dig it?
I'm going to play that one more time because I had the volume down.
Hey, this is Booker T, 5-time champ, and this is the Fave 5 questions. Now, can you dig it?
All right. Question number 1. Let's go with... This will be interesting, too, because I don't think I've ever asked anybody from the UK a lot of these questions. You're technically the first guest, too, that's not from America.
Nice.
And I'm
first today.
And I'm counting Canada as America.
It's North America, right?
Yeah. So, because I can't remember how Canadian guests. I know I had Ethan Page on early on. Other than that, I don't think I've had anybody from the UK at all, or any other country like that. So I do believe you are. So, but the fact is, I don't know if some of these are going to translate as much.
We'll give them a go.
This is one, because I've actually added some questions recently, and I haven't got to ask them. And this is officially, and the fact that you're the first person to answer this is going to be kind of funny, the Jocelyn Navarro question, which is tacos or burritos?
If I was in the UK, I would have said burritos. But now I've experienced tacos here, tacos. So I am a recently converted taco person.
Are tacos different over there?
They're just not really done very well. They don't do them very often. They're not done very well. The fillings aren't as good. Like fish tacos aren't a thing over in the UK. It's all just chicken, really. Chicken tacos. But yeah, like basically, I've really enjoyed tacos over here. And not just Taco Bell, which is Sid has gone off, but I still like Taco Bell. But actual tacos are great, like real tacos, not Taco Bell, but both are good.
Okay. Question number 2: Oreos or Chips Ahoy?
Oreos. Have you tried the carrot cake Oreos?
I think I have.
They're good.
I've had a lot. I think my favorite's Mega Stuff, which I think are great. But I do love the s'mores one because I'm a huge fan of s'mores. I don't think some of the other ones.
There's like peanut butter. There's like birthday cake. I like Oreos. America's kind of put me off peanut butter a bit. I love peanut butter, but it's I don't know. America's teaching me that there may be something as, that there may be such a thing as too much peanut butter.
Wow.
I went to Mel and it was breakfast time. So I was like, okay, I'll have the peanut butter and jam Mel thing. And there was just too much peanut butter. And I was just like, this is ruined my day. I could never eat peanut butter again.
Wow, that's I know a lot of people that love peanut butter, but I've never heard anybody like turned away from it.
Yeah, like when you have like one bad experience with food, I feel like I might have had that with peanut butter. This might be it.
Yeah, and we got peanut butter everywhere too.
I love peanut butter, but now I don't. It's very sad. R.I.P. Rest in peanut butter. Yes. Anyway.
Question number 3. I'll go with a non-food question. I can't remember if I've asked this one because I think this one might be a recent one I've added. MCU or Star Wars?
Ooh. MCU.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the thing about it is, like for me, I'm MCU too, but those types of movies kind of came from Star Wars. And I think depending on your age, there's people that love Star Wars. I think it's okay. I'm just I'm not devoted to it. The way I've explained it is I can sit down and watch it, but I don't own many Star Wars things. I do have a favorite character, and it's R2-D2 because I think R2-D2 is awesome. But other than that, it's just kind of whatever. Yeah,
like I was a kid when like Jar Jar Binks was around, so I loved Jar Jar Binks as a kid. Obviously, Jar Jar Binks has so much hate as an from adults because it's a ridiculous character. But I think that's also partly why like I couldn't get into Star Wars the same, because like a lot of the fandom like they love classic Star Wars and like. But I have an attachment to like the new worst Star Wars because I grew up with it. But it means I've never like felt like on the same page as the true Star Wars fans. Whereas I think MCU, like there's so many different stories that you're getting there. Like, and like, I don't know, they're creating so much more new content as well than than Star Wars are. It's hard to really compare them.
I think too, like Star Wars was made at a time where movies were put out, like if they were sequels, it seemed like a lot of them were put out with a lot of space in between. Like look between from Star Wars A New Hope to Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Meanwhile, like in this newer age, the MCU has been able to pop out movies at least once a year for... Yeah,
like sometimes for the main ones, and then like you've usually got another one or two other ones as well, and like at this point, like there's so many different tonal stuff. And then obviously they've got the TV at the moment, which is incredible. Like WandaVision and Loki have just been awesome. So you just can't like. And the cool thing too, more content.
They were able to like start off small, and then if you just watch it kind of by phase, like you can see like they start to make things bigger and then bigger and then bigger. Yeah. And now like you look back to the beginning and it's like, wow, we started off with these characters and these small premises, but they were able to just expand on them. And now we're to a point where we're about to get into multiverse. We're about to get into all these other things. And it's so much fun to watch. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I agree. I think, there's just, I say, so much breadth there. So much cool stuff. And they've been able to like try different stuff out and see what's working and not in different films as well. I think there's been a lot of room for like more creativity within the MCU.
All right. Question number 4. Let's go with coffee or energy drinks.
Coffee. I actually don't really have caffeine. So I basically have decaf coffee. Like my order from Dunkin' is decaf. So so it's quite an easy one for me.
So Dunkin's the one, the coffee brand that you have aligned yourself with.
Yes.
I'm more of, granted, like I'm not big into coffee, but like when it comes to at least the baked goods, I'm more of a Tim Hortons guy.
Oh, so I went to Tim Hortons quite a lot in in Canada, and because I went on a trip to Canada a few years back, and like they do like really cheap bagels, and like it's really cheap. Like it's not expensive here, but it's really cheap in Canada, and we like on quite a low budget, so it was just like, oh, let's keep having Tim Hortons, and I really liked it there. And then they opened some in the UK, and they did great food there. Like they do like great wedges there, great like breakfast sandwiches, and like the donuts are really good as well. And then I came through Tim Hortons on the way to Toledo, and it was bad. So I was like, oh no, American Tim Hortons is awful. But I think I've been to another one since, and it wasn't as bad, and the food options were all right. So I'm kind of in the middle. I like the way they do their hash browns and their breakfast sandwiches. So and some of the donuts are better. So I agree. There's just not a Tim Hortons in Cleveland, is there?
I thought they were building one, but I'm not 100% sure. Like there's one here in Akron, and then I think there's some out in the Youngstown area too.
I think like in Cleveland, there's like 5 Dunkins and no Tim Hortons. So
yeah.
They pretty much make the decision for us.
Well, Tim Hortons is basically, I should say, Dunkin' Donuts is the American Tim Hortons.
Yeah.
Tim Hortons coming to America is where they're kind of having trouble because Dunkin' Donuts, I mean, they've been around for a long time to a point of...
I saw the like old Dunkin' Donuts like logo, like the first one, and it's like exactly like the Tim Hortons writing.
Yeah.
It says Dunkin' Donuts.
All right. Question number 5. See if I can find a really good food one to end it with. Okay. This will be kind of a non-biased opinion. Mm-hmm. What version of pizza do you prefer, or do you like? Because you might not have had both.
I'm not. You mean like Chicago? Right?
I was gonna say Chicago style or New York style.
I haven't had Chicago style. I really want to. Well, maybe we just go to Rascal House because it's like 1 minute away from where we live. Yeah, I want to try it, but I haven't had a chance yet. So.
Have you ever been to Italy?
Yes, I have.
I really want to try the food there.
It's really good. They have great ice cream, great pizza, great pasta. It's all good. Like, it's just worth going for the food. And like, I've been to Venice, and like, it's beautiful as well. So like, yeah, 10 out of 10 can recommend.
I want to go so bad. Like, it is mainly because of the food. I want to try it. But the only thing is, it'll probably like ruin Italian food here for me, and I'll be like, no, like I can't. That's not real spaghetti. Like this, like it just tastes different. And it's horrible. Like I've had the best of the best.
Yeah, no, like Italy's definitely the best food I've had when I've been away. Like there's like just like the best ice cream I've had, the best because it's gelato is really good. The best pizza I've had, the best pasta I've had, the best hot chocolate I've ever had. So yeah. Need to go back, actually. You're making me want to go back now. Let's go.
All this food around the world. All right, question number 6. I don't know where you lie on this, but which version of The Office is better?
The American one. I think they did more seasons. There's more storyline, I think, if I'm making that up. I feel like... Yeah, I think the humor's a little bit more palatable for all moods. And yeah.
It's like the only thing that we've been able to take from you guys and actually like make good. I didn't say good, but like we actually did like better. There's so many other things. I can't think of everything off the top of my head, but it's just like people go, British did it first and British did it better.
Yeah. Like Jim and Pam are so cute and the US one, and I think I don't know. There's only so much Ricky Gervais you can watch, and like before just wanting to drill your own eyes out. There's some good people in the British one though. Obviously, the guy who plays Tim, he's so famous, and like my brain is Martin Freeman. He's been so good in so many things. It's kind of cool. These people, he was doing that.
I think I tried watching one episode. And I just couldn't get into it.
It's a completely different vibe. I think if you've seen American Office first, you probably would just be like, nah. It's like one way you can only go one way. Once you go to the US office, you can't go back.
I forget too, because I really wasn't watching it during this time. Isn't the 8th Doctor supposed to be like, it was when they were trying to like get it over here?
I think so.
Because it was almost like we killed Doctor Who.
Yeah, that one didn't really. Because that's when it stopped for a while, right?
That was in the middle of a big time gap, because you had like, I forget when it ended with the 7th. And then so many years off in the 90s, they're like, oh, we're going to try to bring it back and do this movie. And I thought it was made for TV, flopped. And then in 2005, they tried again, but didn't have us involved, and it came back.
Just kept it very British.
Yeah.
Have you seen much of Community?
No, I have not.
It's a great show, but like basically there's it's like a Doctor Who parody in there, because there's like Inspector Spacetime. And they basically Americanized like that storyline. It's like it's very difficult to explain, but basically it just made me think of that storyline with Inspector Spacetime and Community. And I recommend Community a lot. It's a great show.
That reminds me of, because you just mentioned that, bringing it back to Rowan Atkinson, the yearly charity thing that you guys have over there.
Oh, like Children in Need, that one.
Yeah, the one where he was the doctor, and he like regenerated like 5 times because he kept getting shot or something. But they had different actors like come in and like play the new one.
Yeah, I love that kind of, they do specials for that kind of thing. It's really great. I feel like UK specials are really quirky and funny.
Yeah. Like
they go really off track in a way that American TV doesn't always take that risk. Probably because it has to appeal to the entire country.
Yeah, and our entire country's huge. Huge,
yeah, and very much more, kind of more diverse from one end to the other. At the same time, it's not being. But.
All right, that's kind of it. Any final thoughts or last minute plugs before we go?
I don't know when is this. I don't know when this is going to be out, but
this Thursday.
Nice. Oh well, then people should definitely go watch my match on IWTV for Paradigm on Friday night at midnight, because it's a midnight show and I need the emotional support of people watching it. Wow. Yeah, and follow me on all the socials, obviously, and yeah, just and send me Heinz beans, please.
And someone send her jelly babies so she can give them to me.
Them.
Thank you. Ooh, I almost put the whole fucking episode.
I know. You did great.
I'm going to someone send them some jelly babies so they can give them to me.
I'll give you one at a show.
I was almost proud of myself. I genuinely was. I was like, man, I went the whole episode. Fuck.
So it's all part of the experience. It's kind of essential reminder at the end. Bring it back.
Yep.
You can find me at Eden_V_E on Twitter and Eden.wrestler on Instagram and Eden von England on Facebook. All right, you can find myself at jsummers330 on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Much like you can find the show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Facebook.com/WrestlingCheers, Twitter.com/WrestlingCheers, Instagram.com/WrestlingCheers. Email, if you so choose a desire, WrestlingCheers@gmail.com, and we have the merch store over at whatamaneuver.net. Like I said earlier in the show, please rate, review, and subscribe your ever listen to this fine podcast, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, or Podbean, WrestlingCheers.podbean.com, and you can find all the links for all the social media and every place you can find the show in our link tree in this episode's show notes. You can also check out our friends on the Trending Topics Network, such as All Beer Inside, Eurovision Showcase, The Spanish Announce Table, and Wrestling with Altitude. Check out our other podcast friends, such as Pod Van Dam, Super Fantastic Podcast, It's Evolution Baby, The IndieCast, Sobros Network, Biff Radio, Off the Hop Rope, Game Marks Podcast, We Like Sports Podcast,
Powerbomb Jitsu, the Spotlight Series, Fully Posable, Doing the Favor, Positively Pro Wrestling, IWTV Guide, At Odds with Wrestling, Best in the World Podcast, Marks with Mikes, Dark Match Podcast, and Porch Talk. Check out our other non-podcasting friends such as Thrift Store Jobber, The Savage Stash, The Mystery Men, Redline Radio, Mouse's Wrestling Adventures, VHS Party Tonight on Instagram, Happy Hour with Steve Guy, The Co-Host Wrestling Show, Good Company, Toy Hio, Time Capsule Toys, Stay Tough, Smoke and Jay's Barbecue, Wrestle Void, Midwest Territory, Southern Underground Pro, and the official graphic designer of Wrestling Cheers, Moy Boy Designs. That will do it for us here on Wrestling Cheers, where everybody knows your name, especially when you're British. Later.
It's the Wrestling Cheers. Get up on your feet, brightening your day in the middle of the week. And you gotta love the show. Yeah, you know it holds a title for the best podcast talking wrestling in Ohio. Finishing a cold one, take a load off. We ain't all about the prohibition like Josh, so we cheers. And then we sit back. Other shows are in the trash, kinda like they Nick Stapp. Like the name is Matt Justice, wearing all the gold. Wrestling Cheers is coming to a close. The #1 podcast going in the game. And one day everybody's gonna know the name. It's the Wrestling Cheers. This is Platinum Max, signing off. Ohio, good night. The world, good night. We love you. We'll see you next week.